The first quarter of 2025 is wrapping up, and I think it's time for house prices to start dropping. There's a lot of things that have been in motion that I've been seeing. So I'm going to lay out in today's video why I think some changes are happening and what I think you should do when those changes begin. So first and foremost, let me describe a very common scenario right now. A very common scenario that I'm seeing right now. So first and foremost, let's say you're looking to buy a house, right? You're looking up to $400,000. You're looking for like a 3-bedroom, a 2-bathroom, and let's say you want about 1,500 square feet. Okay. Now, normally this is gonna like pretty limited, but under 400,000, this appears to be like the general first-time home buyer sweet spot price range I'm looking at. So whether you're looking, let's say this is Phoenix, obviously, so West Valley, East Valley, North Phoenix, we're able to kind of nail down some areas here. So for example, let's say I pick just a random city in my area here. We can kind of see there's 18 options. Pretty cool. Okay, so there's 18 options. Well, from these houses, these are very standard houses, like nothing fancy, nothing crazy like that. And like, here's a good one, for example, very cozy starter home, not remodeled, nothing like that. It's just a good starter place. It's just to kind of, buy your first house, get married, pop some kids out, or not. Maybe just stay single and play World of Warcraft or RuneScape. That's, whatever route you want to go, right? So then you're like, oh, great, this is cute. Okay, well, what's the monthly payment on this for my very first house? It's high. And that's one thing, is because if you're going to buy like with the conventional loan, currently as of today, that 30-year fixed rate is 6.82. And this is good news because it was like a little bit higher a few weeks ago. 6.82. What does that monthly payment look like? Well, if you're looking for a $400,000 house at a 6.82% interest rate, your monthly payment is $2,837. Let's say you hold on to the house, you never sell it ever again. The interest you're going to pay on this rate is going to be approximately $511,000. If you don't believe me, I've got the proof, baby. Loan amount $380, 6.8% interest rate, $511,000 paid after 30 years. And let's say, oh, Javier, I don't want to do it I'm just going to live it for 10 years. Okay, well, after 10 years, you've paid $258,000 of interest. If I have this buyer, which 9 out of 10 times is the type of buyer I'm getting right now, it's hard for them to stomach that monthly payment. So most of these buyers, don't get me wrong, there's a huge wave of first that we just get depressed. We all get depressed. We all start crying. We all, just have a good cry. You just have to have a good cry once in a while. But once that's over, we start saying, well, what are our options? Well, not everybody is obligated to buy a resale. Let me explain what I mean by that. So let's say you're looking to buy your first home, there's always a list of priorities that you have. But at the very top, there's going to be one priority that's going to be bigger than everyone else. Most of people, this priority is going to be, I have to be able to afford the monthly payment. Okay. The monthly payment has to make sense. And for a smaller percentage, that first priority could be the area. I have to be in this specific area for X reason. I have to be in a certain zip code. I need to be in a certain school district. I need to live a certain mile radius from my mom, my dad, whatever the case is. If this is your main focus, then you're buying a resale, you're buying a higher rate. There's some other things you could do to kind of mitigate that, but you're kind of stuck in that situation. But what I'm seeing is at least like, I want to say 70 to 80% of the people, this is the main priority. And if affordability is your main priority, but what if we could buy something where we get half of the interest rate and we maybe get like a 30 to 45 minute commute? That may not sound like it's true, but check this out. Let's say we can get this house for the same exact like price, everything, but instead of a 6.8%, we get like a 3.5. Now, our total interest paid after 30 years is $125K, and the monthly payment is no longer that. It is now $2,066. We saved $800 on that monthly payment. How? How is this possible? Well, that is new builds, my friend. New builds. New builds have been slowly but surely becoming the main savior of first-time home buyers in most markets. Now, when I mean new build, I don't mean houses that are like, oh, you go pick out your dirt lot and then you go, get yourself into, build a house of your dreams. You pick out your upgrades, etc., etc. That's not what I mean. Most of these builders are not doing that no more. Most of these builders are simply just building spec houses. And if you do not believe me, once again, let me back it up. Not like that. Only person I back it up for is my wife, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just say, okay, yeah, it sucks. You're trying to be under 400,000, but we're not trying to get that. Let's just see if we can find anything that's newer that's in our price range. Let's kind of stretch it out a little further out. Okay, 67 options. There's some up here. There's some up here. So maybe even here. This is probably your better route if you're trying to be in the North Phoenix area. There's a plenty of options. Now, these houses are already built. They're done. You don't go and pick out your specs or anything. They're ready to go. It's a brand new house, and you're going to get an interest rate in the 3s to 4s. Now, here's a quick synopsis of how it works. Let's say I'm a builder. Okay, I'm going to call myself Vidana Homes, and my model is free tacos for life. If you buy a Vidana home, you're getting tacos every day, and we're all going to just grow obese together. So let's say I'm building out, and I'm going to start off building 10 houses, right? So I'm going to spec them out. I'm going to pick them out. And some of them will be more expensive than another, because let's say like here, there's a park right here or something, or like maybe the corner lots or have a larger lot or something. I don't know. But either way, I'm going to build 10 of them. Now there's going to be a life cycle to the build time. First phase is A, second phase is B, and then after it's being done, it's C, right? So this is the actual, when it's done being built. This is when they start the build time, right? So this is when they start from the ground up. Here is when it's already like basically done. The walls are up and the foundation, no, the foundations on everything's already been set, but they have the address. Basically 90% of the house is being done built, and they're approximately 30 to 60 days from actually completing it. And here they're actually done with the property. Okay. So they're going to try their best to sell it right around here. But during A, they're not going to really give a lot of incentives. Maybe the price will be a little bit more attractive, but what I found here is they give you maybe like, hey, we'll pay your closing costs for you or something like that. But once they're at this point, when they're 30 days from building the house, they start, like, this is their ideal time frame of when they need to sell the house. This is when they're going to offer you some more things. So when you're at B, they might say, hey, we're going to give you an interest rate of 4%. And we're going to pay your closing costs for you, or something along those lines, because it is their hope and goal, their goal at least, to have a buyer come in around here. So that way, by the time it's being done built, they are basically closing and then getting their money out. But once they're at C, once they've already finished the house and they're like, holy crap, we need to sell this. It's already finished and we don't have a buyer. They become extremely desperate. So when they're at C, they're going to give you like a super low interest rate. They're going to pay your closing costs. And at that point, they might even give you something like a 3-2-1 buy down, 2-1 buy down, where they, according to them, give you a cheaper interest rate for the first year. So maybe like they'll give you 2.5% for year 1. Year 2 will be 3.5%, and then years 3 to 30 will be 4.5%. This is not a like adjustable rate mortgage. They're basically simulating a lower rate for the first year or two. Really, if you want to think about it, is they're bribing you, really. So like a 2-1 buy down is like when, let's say, they give you a 3% rate the first year, and then they give you a 4% rate for the rest of your like term. And like a 3-2-1 buy down might look like, well, they'll give you a 2% 1 year, 3% a year, and then 4% this year. So basically, the way you want to look at it is this one, they're bribing you about $8,000 to $9,000. Here, they're bribing you about like $15,000. But they can't legally give you that money because it's illegal. They can't just bribe you. So what they do is like, hey, bro, for the first year, we're going to simulate a lower rate and take off, I don't know, like $400 a month for the first for 12 months for your first year. The second year, we're going to maybe take out like $200 a month. Obviously, I'm using rough numbers here, but it might be 450, 420, 415, 215, 220, whatever. But usually if you add up that amount, you get about $8,000 ish. Okay. give or take, not exactly zeros. It could be, it's probably a little higher. And for the 3-2-1 buy down, this is a little different. They're going to give you $500-$600 off the first 12 months, $400 off the second, and then $200 for the last year, right? So when I'm talking to my clients, I'm telling them, they're looking at the 2-1 buy down, 3-2-1 buy down, and they think they're like, oh my gosh, this builder's giving me the moon. No, they're just bribing you, and they're saying, hey, we're going to give you $8,000, we're going to give you $15,000, but we're not legally allowed to give this to you this way, so we're going to kind of break it up and discount maybe your payment a certain way to make it look like it has a lower rate, so we can get that money to your pocket, basically. So anyways, so a lot of these builders are spec home builders now, and they are basically in this cycle where there's a plenty of houses that are in B or in C that are giving that interest rate buy down where you're saving, was at $500 to $800 a month in pure interest. You're paying hundreds of $1,000s less of interest. And these people, or at least home buyers, are starting to realize, why are we going to go buy a resale when there's so many freaking new builders out there? And I have to tell you, the first 2-3 months of as of right now, still sellers have just not gotten that. They feel like, I have a freaking buyer right now. Shout out to S&M. I don't want to say their first name. Where we found a home they like, and they found it, and they brought me in. And this person is just, the seller's just being so stubborn with their price. And we're giving them a very fair offer. We even started low, but then we eventually were like, okay, we'll give you list price, but we need you at least to help us a little bit with concessions. The seller is just like, no, we're not doing, even though it's been 100+ days on the market, even though they've had no offers, they're just like, no, bro, we're not going to sell it. And we're giving such a fair offer. Sellers are still not getting that their biggest competitor is not essentially other sellers, it's going to be new builders. And if you actually have a buyer who doesn't want to go buy a new build, they should be treated like royalty, but they're not. Sellers are still at least the one majority, not to say majority of them, most of them are still in this mindset of I'm doing you a favor of you buying a house by giving you my house, when it should be, oh my gosh, you're buying a house and you're not buying a new build. Please let me roll out the red carpet for you. What do you need? You need some closing costs? You want a back massage? Got it. So sellers haven't gotten this, and they're slowly getting beat up. Right now, we have so many listings. So many. Right now, there's 25,000 houses for sale. Wait, let me see. 24,205 for sale. There's 25 because I put the coming soon ones. How many houses do you think out of the 24,000 we have for sale? If I look at the last 30 days, how many of them do you think have sold? Do you think 15,000, maybe $20,000? Just give me a number. Guess. 6,680. There's just not very many people buying a house right now. Sellers are slowly starting to understand that maybe their house isn't made out of gold. And if they do have a buyers, they should be treated right. I think for you guys who are out there, if you're not buying a new build and you're looking into a resale, I think you need to be aware of that and not take any of this seller's crap. Like my client right now, that we're dealing with the seller that just doesn't want to, it's like they don't even want to sell. We're giving them a very fair offer, and they don't want to give in on 1% or whatever the closing cost amount that we're asking for. Even though we've come up on the price and we've done all these things, no, you want to think about with negotiation, who's the one that's in power here? Who's the one who has the leverage? I think you as the buyer, you need to realize you have the leverage right now. And, I'm not saying go lowball everybody. I'm not telling you go crazy, but I'm telling you, use that leverage in your favor. If you find a house that you really like and they don't want to work with you, guess what? There's so many listings out there right now that you can just go keep looking. And I do strongly believe we're going to start seeing some adjust unless rates start dropping. If rates start dropping and people just flood the market, I hope that we stay reasonable and we don't start fighting with each other. Please remember, if you're looking for home buyer resources, check it out, Home Buyer HQ. It could be free, or if you are in a good position and you want to help the taco master, you can put whatever price you think is fair. It has all these spreadsheets and PDFs and stuff like that to help you in your home buying journey. And of course, like I told you, if you're looking to buy in Phoenix, Arizona, or if you want an nature referral, check my links out below. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.